Hello, people of the internet. I am James Phoenix, and this is another review here on Pez. No, not Pez, mine. Wrong channel. League of Opinionated Gentlemen.
Jim.
So on YouTube channels, I'm confusing myself. God damn it.
Jim.
Sorry, I have like 3 or 4 different accounts I have to manage. I'm sorry.
You're forgiven.
I'm forgiven. The last time I was with them, I was on Pez. Cut me some slack.
Slack cut.
Anyway.
I am not British.
I don't care. Anyway. So here on the League, this is another Spring of Starkid video. You can check out the previous 2 for this year where we reviewed the Starkid musical Firebringer. And Geoff and I took a look at the very Starkid reunion DVD.
Correct. And then we have one more coming.
Indeed, we're going to be doing one more after this, which will be Geoff and I taking a look at the short film Flop Stoppers, which is appropriately a short musical film about 2 fans given the opportunity of a lifetime to stop the production on the movie bastardization of their favorite superheroes, Captain Cosmic versus Dark Detective, Dawn of Liberty.
Yeah, so that'll probably be later this week.
We'll be getting to that later this week. But for right now, we're going to talk about the first full-length musical from the Tin Can Brothers. Of course, Joey Richter, Corey Lubowich, and Brian Rosenthal of Team Starkid, their own separate organization. Although other members of Starkid are in this, Spies Are Forever.
If you haven't seen it, go see it. It is great.
It is available on the Tin Can Brothers YouTube channel. Go check it out. There will be spoilers in this review. If you haven't seen it already and you want to not be spoiled, go watch it first and then come back here. It's about 2.5 hours. Allot yourself that, then come back here.
We'll be waiting.
We will. Oh, good, you're back. Okay. So, let's go ahead and talk about Spies Are Forever, the as I mentioned, the first full musical from the Tin Can Brothers. Music for this musical was done by Talk Fine, Clark Baxtresser, and Pierce Siebers.
So right off the bat, we know the music is awesome.
Indeed, formerly providing all the music for the Starkid musical Annie.
Yep.
So
and
they have...
Didn't one of them also help Meredith do Firebringer?
No, that wasn't one of those 2.
Oh, my.
That was her and I believe it was Mark Swiderski.
That's right, it was Swiderski.
If my memory serves correctly. At any rate, yes, the book by the Tin Can Brothers, as I mentioned before, and it is, as you can probably tell by the title, a parody of the James Bond spy genre.
Right.
Musical was performed between March 11th and April 3rd in LA. Digital tickets were made available for people who donated to the Kickstarter to help fund it, which it was funded. And it went up to YouTube in weekly episodes beginning June 21st of last year and going from there, rather than being all up at once, which was an interesting choice. And if you want to see another part of this, Spies Are Forever cast did reunite to do a concert featuring scenes and songs from this as one of the special night segments during the production of Firebringer during last year's Spring of Starkid.
Oh, okay.
Well, Summer of Starkid, as they call it, the Summer of Starkid summer season. We call it Spring of Starkid because we reviewed it earlier.
Although not this year, apparently.
Yeah, well, that was Spies Are Forever Reloaded. And if you want to see Spies Are Forever Reloaded, head over to giggity.tv, search Team Starkid, and you will find the Starkid Summer Season channel they have, where there are recordings of both Firebringer and the other shows that they've done, and you can watch those for a minor fee. Although Firebringer is, as mentioned, it's free on their YouTube channel now, so watch that there. But the other stuff you can watch for a small fee of $5 to $10, depending on the production. So we're going to go
as per the said cast.
We're going to talk about the cast. The cast, in addition to the Tin Can Brothers themselves, stars Kurt Mega as Agent Kurt Mega, the protagonist of our story. He's joined by Mary Kate Wiles, who you may know from such previous productions as Muzzled and Edgar Allan Poe's Murder Mystery Dinner Party. as well as the Lizzie Bennett Diaries.
And on her YouTube channel, she's also done interview type things with various members of Team Starkid, including, but not limited to, Joey Richter, his longtime girlfriend, Lauren Lopez.
She is awesome.
And other people.
She has also appeared. Let's see, she has also appeared in Squaresville and the Game of Thrones parody School of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
So Mary Kate Wiles is awesome. Check her out.
Indeed.
You can find her at MaryKateWiles.com and on her YouTube channel, which I believe is MK Wiles. Also appearing in this is the hilarious Al Fallick in two minor roles as the informant and Susan. Joe Walker from Starkid as the deadliest man alive. Lauren Lopez as both Cynthia Houston, Kurt Manga's boss, and Kurt Manga's mother, Mrs. Manga. The great Tessa Netting, always hilarious, as Barbara Lavanor, the R, F-U-Q or R, depending on your time frame.
Girlfriend of Team Starkid member Joe Moses.
Indeed. And then, of course, the members of the Tin Can Brothers themselves, Joey Richter in a number of roles, as well as Brian Rosenthal as Dr. Baron von Nazi, and Corey Lubowich as the prince of the fictional country in which a large portion of this takes place.
And let's be fair with Joey. There's only ever been one production, to my knowledge, where he's only played one role. Well, technically 3 productions, but they're all of the same story.
Well, you'd be wrong because he was only himself in MAMD.
That is true.
And also, he was only Bug in Starship, so you are totally wrong.
I thought he was more than just Bug in that. Fair enough.
No, because because I think he was one of only like 2 people in that production that didn't have another role.
Fair enough.
Because he was Bug as the Bug and Bug as the person, but he was never not Bug.
Fair enough.
Anyway, we should go back and review the other Starkid musicals when they watch them. That'd be fun. Let's put that on the notes for next year's Spring of Starkid. Anyway.
Sure.
Indeed. So let's go ahead and talk about this. Per usual, we'll be using the song list to go through and discuss the production. Also noted, Corey Lubowich is the director of this. All choreography was done by Lauren Lopez. Scene designed by Emmy Weldon. Costume design, Allison Dillard. Lighting design, Julian V. Elstob. Sound design by Matt Glenn and Mark Casparet. And the stage manager was Rita Santos. Spies Are Forever was kickstarted. $58,830 were raised by 1,147 backers, of which I would have been one had I known this was a thing before it was made.
Yep. I have to say, it's great seeing Lauren Lopez being so active as more than just a cast member, because she, if I remember correctly, did she not also do the dance choreography for Firebringer?
Yes, I believe she did. Presumably with Denise Donovan's help, but yes.
Probably, yeah. But it's great because she does have that dance background, and then she doesn't really she doesn't get to strut that very often.
Yeah. That is very true.
Like, she gets to, strut the mechanical side of it because, obviously she has to dance, Team Starkid, but she doesn't get to strut the creative side of her dance background and actually create the dances often. So it's great to see her do that. And both productions, the dance choreography is on point. I love the choreography for Spies Are Forever. It's hilarious.
It is quite good.
So,
let us proceed with the production proper.
Indeed.
Again, spoilers.
Ding, 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 ding.
So, by the way, as I know for anybody who hasn't seen this but might have seen the promo video, that song in the promo video is not actually in the production. So,
unfortunately, I was waiting for it. Never came.
Well, it came during the end bows. They threw it in there.
A little bit.
I believe, though, the song, and I could be wrong, but I believe that song is on the official soundtrack.
I'm sure it is. I don't doubt that. All right. So we open up with the song Spies Are Forever, the theme song of the production. As we meet, this takes place beginning in 1957, We see Agent Kurt Mega being tortured for information, broken free by one of the torturers who turns out to be an ally, Agent Owen Kavor, played by Joey Richter. They proceed to partner up, shoot the place up, and escape. But during the escape, Owen inadvertently slips on a banana peel that Kurt dropped and ends up dying in the explosion. Which leads to the secondary song, The Coldest Goodbye, which kind of spins off of Spies Are Forever.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, we cut to 4 years later, after 4 years of Kurt Mega grieving the loss of his partner and friend. He's back in the Secret Service, and he is sent to Budapest in 1961 to speak to an informant who he has to identify with a hilarious code phrase that he fails at doing several times. Well, before we go any further, first two songs, opinions, feelings, opening scene.
Oh, well, Spies Are Forever gets stuck in your head. It's in my head right now, but in a good way. It's very catchy.
It's awesome.
Indeed.
Forever, forever, the coldest goodbye to the woman, goodbye, and forever, forever, best hello to the coldest goodbye. All right.
Indeed, it was a great opening segment. It was very James Bondy, which I guess is what they were going for.
That's the point.
And this first scene actually illustrates one of the points I have for this entire production, and you'll see it prevalent throughout the entire production if you watch it, and that is, I swear the Tin Can Brothers went to the Nick and Matt Lang school of writing musicals, because much like the Starkid musicals, they did an excellent job with the characters in this one and the relationships, and it's very much the way Nick Lang would have written it and written the characters, which I love. And it's like the fact that it's not just them and it's pretty much all of Team Starkid puts that much care into what they do, and that they all have that kind of grasp on character is amazing. And that further, to me, explains and shows why their productions are so good, because every member of Team Starkid has that level of understanding of character and are able to translate that onto their performance. So, and that just shows how good like Joey Richter and the Tin Can Brothers are at writing this stuff in addition to the performing. And it's like they're all so good. I love the characters in this production. They're really well written.
Agreed.
Beautifully said.
Not a big deal, but just a FYI, when you guys are in the little squares, Melissa, you're like off to the right. So could you scooch a little closer to Cam, perhaps?
No, I couldn't tell.
Right there. That's perfect. Okay. Like you're fine when you're on the big screen, but when it's that little square in the corner and one of us is talking, you were cutting off. Okay, now we're okay.
Basically, Jim is saying you two are supposed to be married. Act like it. There you go.
You're supposed to be separated. Hi, Internet.
All right. Anyway, so during the course of that opening scene, we learned that Owen works for MI6 with the British, and Cynthia, makes a joke about trying to get him to hire. I believe that would be called treason love. I just love that line. But basically, they're all trying to steal plans at that point, but they end up, as mentioned, the explosion goes off and Owen is killed. So after 4 years of grieving, Kurt Mega is rehired and sent to speak to the informant in Budapest to begin a new mission after having finally come out of retirement with a ridiculous beard.
Yeah, it's making fun of I think was it Skyfall, where Bond gets shot and then fucking quits and then comes back years later. Yeah, it is that one, because then he finds out about that. Oh, it's like one of the first agents come back to fucking kill M. Oh, maybe I should come out of retirement and stop being an ass. And of course, because it's Bond hiding and not giving a shit, he shows up with a ridiculously British beard.
There's actually another thing that ties into that I'll get to later. So under finding the informant, he learns about the mission, and he accuses the informant of being really careless with the top secret papers and things, hiding them in a menu at the restaurant. And the informant bitches back at him. Well, at least I didn't get my partner killed.
Oh,
for all intents and purposes. So after that low blow, Kurt wonders aloud whether he can do this again while singing the song "Spy Again." Feelings on "Spy Again" and that scene.
I would like to say Al Falik is friggin' hilarious.
Al Falik is awesome.
And a pretty good singer, too.
If people enjoy Al Falik, I again encourage you to go to giggity.tv and look up the Starkid summer season and check out Al Falik's show that he wrote that he performed during the summer season. And something about a history of the theater or something like that.
Fair enough. Would you regale the people with a bit of the song?
If I could remember the lyrics.
Or the tune.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a gap between the last time I watched this and this review, so.
Yeah, that's kind of why I asked you to, because I'm like, I don't remember a lot of the songs.
I just remember that it was awesome.
I remember a lot of the scenes and like the story. I just don't remember a lot of the songs. But I just remember all the songs were really good.
Yeah, and the Spy Again was all about the rhyming that they threw in there.
Yeah.
Spy again, don't die again, get up and wear a suit and tie again.
Oh, yeah.
Like that.
Song. Yeah, that's a great song.
I love it. No flaws. 10 out of 10.
Also, who wrote the lyrics for the song?
And another drink.
Do you remember who wrote the lyrics for most of these songs? Was it Talkfine that wrote the lyrics too?
Talkfine did all the music.
Because I was going to say, it almost feels like Joey Richter had input into a lot of these lyrics, because a lot of the songs feel a lot like Granger Danger, where you have that back and forth between the people singing.
Maybe, but he didn't even write that. Darren Criss wrote that.
I know, but he knows the lyrics because it's his song. He sings it all the time.
Well, yes, I'm aware of that. I'm just saying. Anyway.
But yeah, I like all the call and response they do in these songs. It's a really unique way of dealing with the fact you have multiple people in the same scene singing this song, and there's like multiple parts to the song that you don't see a lot, and you see it very prevalent in this production, and it's actually really well done.
Yeah, and I should take a moment to note the quality of the sets here, because not only is there everything going on down here on the ground, there's stairwells and a ladder over here and an upper balcony area where they can cut spotlight-wise between the lower area and the upper area to show multiple things going on in the same scene.
That's Corey Lubowich for you.
Which is an incredibly effective way of doing that on stage. And they even went out of their way to use a projector to project certain things on the stage to the benefit of the audience, like the names of the locations and the years.
Corey Lubowich is the stage guy, right?
Corey Lubowich is the director.
Right. But isn't he the stage guy for Starkid? Doesn't he do a lot of that stuff?
No, he's one of the set builder guys.
Yeah, a set builder. So
I think he's the set designer. I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's what I meant. The stage guy, the set designer. So I assume he did the same for this production.
No, I mean he may have contributed to it, but the let's see, design, scenic design was Emmy Weldon. Emmy Weldon.
Very, very well done.
Quite.
Yeah, the sets were amazing in this.
Breathtaking.
Yes. Indeed.
Well, they had a lot of money from the Kickstarter that I'm sure helped.
They did.
Yes.
Make these sets amazing.
Yeah, which definitely helped. Anyway.
I know about it. I want them to take all my money.
Yeah.
Keep doing Kickstarters. I keep giving them money.
Indeed.
Well, the thing is, if they want people's money, all they have to do on the Kickstarter is just put up a 5-second video of just Joey Richter walks on. Hi, I'm Joey Richter. I'm part of this production.
That's it.
People will throw money at Joey Richter. That's how good and how popular he is.
You would meet their goal 10 in the first 10 minutes.
Or Darren.
Exactly.
Famous. Right?
And if they really want to meet the goal, by the way, this is my girlfriend Lauren Lopez. She's also in this production.
Anywho. Focus, people, focus. All right, so following this, we cut down to a loading dock where a deadly arms deal is going down as Sergio Santos, a family man, is selling arms to the deadliest man alive and his associates. One of whom, for a brief moment, becomes co-deadliest man alive until he himself is killed. In the cruelest of all ironies. And they perform the song, Somebody's Gotta Do It.
Mm-hmm.
Which I love.
It's a great song.
Feelings on Somebody's Gotta Do It.
Well, number one, it's a Joe Walker song. How can you not like it?
Hmm.
Joe Walker always has some of the greatest songs.
Hmm.
Just like the entire production, very well written, very well played, very well acted. I mean, it's Joe Walker.
And Joey Richter.
And Joey Richter, but Joe Walker was the focus because he is the deadliest man alive.
And Joey is Sergio Santos.
Until...
No, he doesn't get shot.
No, he dies, though.
He doesn't die. He runs away.
Oh, I thought he got killed. Fair enough.
No, he doesn't get killed.
Yeah, fair enough.
Silly.
They go back and forth about how they love what they do, and somebody's got to do it. Yeah, somebody's got to do it.
Shit.
So it might as well be me.
And interesting, the two kings of duets from Starkid themselves get a duet.
Yeah.
And they do it very well.
Please let me go back to the bakery.
Meant to be.
Yeah, the joke being that, of course, Sergio Santos is a family man, and he bought some particular pastries for his wife for their anniversary. And he's just selling arms to provide for his family, and he just wants to get the pastries and leave. It doesn't care about the bomb that he was selling. Mm-hmm. And he inevitably is permitted to get away as both Agent Kurt Mega from the Americans and Agent Tatiana Slosno from the Russians arrive at the same time to break up the bomb deal. Tatiana being played by Mary Kate Wiles, of course. Mm-hmm. And both the Deadliest Man and Sergio escape, but the bomb is left behind, which Tatiana ends up taking after she tricks Kurt and manages to get away. But Kurt managed to grab a business card that she dropped out of her pocket that indicated the hotel she was staying at, so he could go find her. He goes a few days later to check in with Cynthia, played by Laura Lopez, his boss at the Secret Service, who was on the phone with Vice President Nixon. And she gets on the phone and basically, Cynthia's role is to basically talk shit.
She's M.
Kind of. But to an extreme. And
it's a parody.
She basically tells Kurt to be a better spot because his Deadliest Man Alive is no joke. And talks about how there was a World Peace Gala coming up, which is a coming out party for the new Democratic Republic of Old Socialist Prussian Slovakia.
See that 5 times fast.
No. And even though the prince is and I quote, inexperienced inbred virgin, end quote, she wants an alliance with him to get back at the Russians. So she then, in order to teach Kurt a lesson, goes into the song Keep Your Eyes on the Prize with the help of her assistant, Susan, played by Al Fallon. Feelings on that?
That's a great song. And, of course, it's Lauren Lopez.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I just saying, I just thought she was amazing throughout the whole thing. Anything with Lauren Lopez, it's like...
Well, she's a good actress.
That's it.
What can I say?
She was hilarious as the boss. And when she was on the phone with Nixon, I was like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Gotta be honest, though, I think Al Fallon made that song.
Al Fallon was great in every scene he was in.
Yeah, but in particular, he makes that song.
Fair enough.
I'm the only one that thinks so.
Like, I don't remember the song too well. Keep
your eyes on the prize. And then Al Fallon, you gotta. Come on, that was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that's right. He's
Yeah,
always
pushing her back in the chair. It was funny as hell.
yeah.
Falk was great.
He's great at the just over the top comedy.
He is.
I also have to say, all this whole production in true Starkid fashion. So somehow they've again managed to strike this balance between the seriousness of it. You know, it's a spy thriller story, but it's a comedic parody of such, and they balance that. And you see that in almost every scene where they have that emotionality, which Nick and Matt Lang are very well known for in Starkid. But you also have that comedy because they're all trained comedians to a degree.
Yeah,
they're trained improv artists. It was one of the required classes, as many of them have said. And you see that, and to be able to strike a balance like that, and I've said this before in other Starkid reviews, to strike that kind of balance to near perfection and as consistently as they do throughout the entire production, very hard to do. And the fact that it's the Tin Can Brothers that wrote this, it was not Nick and Matt Lang, and they were able to strike the same balance that Nick and Matt Lang can strike in every single Starkid production they've ever done, is astounding.
Indeed.
And I think that makes Joey Richter even more marketable, because it's like, holy shit, he has this whole other extra set of skills that no one fucking knew he had. Aside from, Starkid. They obviously knew because they're all like best friends.
Well, remember, let's not just Joey. A lot of it's Corey and Brian too. Let's not give credit where credit is due.
Well, yeah, and even Rosenthal. And let's be fair, not many people outside of Starkid knew about Corey until, probably about a year before this.
I don't know about that. I mean, he's been involved with Starkid stuff pretty much from the word go. Not on stage, but he's been involved.
Well, yes, he has. I'm just saying the people outside of Starkid, people like us, didn't really know that much about him, or to a degree that he even existed, because Starkid never flouted, Corey Lubowitz is Corey Lubowitz that. But then in the last year or so, they've actually started throwing his name around. Like, I didn't know that he was even there, or that he was a person, until they started throwing his name around. I'm like, who's this Corey Lubowitz guy? And then, it's like, oh, he's a set guy. Wow.
Well, you don't pay the hell attention. I know who the hell he was.
Which is fair enough.
It reminds me a lot of the show Psych and how it can balance the comedy and the character.
Yep.
Although, it's worth noting, that's not exactly hard with this, because, let's be fair, there's a large number of actual James Bond movies that are not that serious.
Right.
So it's not exactly a hard balance to strike, because they do it in the actual movies.
It is true, but I defy you to find me a James Bond movie that's as good as this.
Well, I don't know about that, but in terms of comedy, but it's still a matter of a balance.
True.
I mean, you want to be able to hold a good balance when you're going to say, okay, we're going to go stop an evil mastermind trying to destroy the world, and I'm going to do it while hanging out with a chick named Pussy Galore.
Well, I put to you, though, with James Bond, the majority, if not out and out, all the comedy comes from Bond himself. Everyone else around him is, like, deadly serious.
To some extent, yes.
But unless it's a movie that happens to have Felix Leiter in it because dumb American.
Yeah, but even then, some of it is it's still a matter of, it was almost more the later movies that, had a lot more of that comedy in there, because, each Bond had their own little quirks and things, and it was, some of them was a good comedy balance, like that sort of thing, where, okay, we're going to balance comedy with some of the villains here, because, especially in the early, and like the Connery movies, the comedy with Bond is, oh, ha, 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 he rapes women.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, moving along.
Good transition.
I thought so. So, following all of this, Kurt goes to the technology lab where he runs into Barb again, and she talks about all the new gadgets that they've made, and has her people shave off his beard in the song Pay Attention.
That song is awesome.
Yes, props to Tessa Netting.
Indeed. RQ.
She might well be my favorite character in this.
Her character's a great character, and she plays it very well.
Indeed.
Yes.
When you're saving the world, who do you think will be saving you?
But then again, the moment she came on stage and I got a feeling for what her character was going to be, I knew it was going to be awesome because I've seen some of her previous stuff on YouTube. Like, so a lot of her con stuff. And for those who haven't seen her stuff, go see her stuff. Go to her YouTube channel. She and I think it was Kurt. I'm not sure, but I think it was her and Kurt did this parody song several years ago, parodying Starkid's "I Want to Be a Starship Ranger," and called it "I Want to Be a Starkid Member."
I remember that.
Great song.
I gotta check that out.
Indeed.
Again, the biggest irony of the whole thing is you're dating one. You're technically one now.
Well, she wasn't at the time.
Yeah, she was. She was dating Joe Moses at the time.
Anywho.
But yeah, it's a great song, so go check it out. And it, you know, that gives you also a feeling for her style of comedy and her voice.
Indeed, and after shaving off his beard and giving Kurt everything he needs to do his job, he leaves and she has a slight lament reprise of her song. You know, remember that, you know, she has feelings for Kurt, but knows that, you know, she's the nerdy, unattractive girl. He'll never notice her.
Yep, she's a combination Q/Moneypenny of this show.
And it works.
It does.
It does. All right. So, following this, Kurt goes undercover to a casino, the Monte Carlo, to retrieve the bomb that Tatiana stole, because that's the hotel she was staying at with the card that he found. And he arrives, and they do a reprise of Eyes on the Prize as he is mentally prepping himself for meeting Tatiana.
Mm-hmm.
Eyes on the prize, minus the "you gotta" part. They cut that out for this version.
Mm-hmm.
And Kurt attempts to woo Tatiana by being suave, playing some casino games, and buying her some drinks. But unfortunately, he is interrupted by the arrival of fellow American and tourist Richard Big, but his friends call him Dick.
Appropriately.
Played by Joe Walker. Which is hilarious. As he is your stereotypical Southern Republican, gun-toting American. And
I don't remember this part.
You don't remember Joey and Joe Walker coming in the fucking cowboy hat and a leather jacket?
Not really.
Well, I'm glad to find another American here in this establishment, and you look like you need a wingman, my good sir.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, vaguely.
He smacks on the ass, he feels his gun, he's like, "No, that just measures my Second Amendment heart that you believe that strongly in our Constitution, even this far from the homeland." I'm paraphrasing, I'm not exactly quoting, but you get the idea.
Right.
I believed it.
And effectively, he interferes in their card game. He keeps interfering in Kurt's attempts to woo Tatiana and get the information he needs. And invariably, Tatiana and Kurt manage to get away from him after Mr. Big charges an expensive imported Budweiser to Kurt, who can't afford it, so Tatiana has to apply it to her room. And Big gets offended when Kurt jumps up and almost chokes out the blackjack dealer out of frustration. So after all this happens and the situation is cleared up, Tatiana takes him up to the room where he is jumped by the deadliest man alive. As it turns out, Tatiana has betrayed him, and we are greeted by our villain, the evil Dr. Baron von Nazi, the nephew of Adolf Hitler. Played by Brian Rosenthal.
He is hilarious, but then again, Rosenthal is always hilarious.
He is.
I love this character. He was probably my favorite character of the whole thing. He was so funny.
Well, he had a great name.
That
Yeah.
too.
And his main song,
We'll get there.
but we'll get there.
So anyway, they reveal that Tatiana is working for Nazi because her family is in danger if she doesn't do what she's told. And she thinks that she's paid off her debt, but it's turned out, no, she's just going to be in indefinite slavery to him. And he orders the deadliest man alive to kill Kurt Mega, and the deadliest man then proceeds to torture Kurt Mega, to torture him until he dies, as he goes back and forth singing a reprise of "Somebody's Got to Do It." Somebody's gotta do it. All luck making people bleed. And so, conflicted about her situation, Tatiana decides to knock out the deadliest man alive from behind and help Kurt Mega escape.
Yay, Tatiana.
Indeed.
Indeed.
But while they're fighting about her motives and why she helped him, Kurt Mega gets shot and she has to help him get away.
Fair enough.
Indeed. I have a slight problem here.
What's that?
Whoever was writing out the synopsis on Wikipedia only did Act 1. So we're going to have to just go by the song list for the rest of this.
Yes, I noticed that.
And hope that we remember what happened.
Well, isn't the next scene at Kurt's house? Because that's where she takes him after he gets shot.
Well, not yet. First, Tatiana gets Kurt to the elevator where he meets up with Barb. And Barb tends to his wound while... Okay, let me correct myself. Right about here when Kurt gets shot is the end of Act 1. Let's parlay. Act 1 opinions overall.
Very good. I like the cliffhanger. Like I said, very well written. All the songs were great. Choreography was great. Just overall, this is just top to bottom a great production.
It is. Now, I know in terms of the formatting, they did break this up into many parts that they released weekly, with each one having its own little name. And I believe, Geoff, you had some concerns about there being too many songs.
It did feel a little song heavy when I watched it, like the first act. I don't know. It worked, but I just felt like I think because they kind of went from song to song to song, and I know Starkid tends to do that too, but maybe and I don't know if it's just me, but to me, a lot of the Starkid productions, they don't feel as song heavy as this one did. And I don't know if that's because the Starkid productions are a little bit longer than Spies Are Forever, but it just felt like there was very little breathing room between the songs, and it's kind of like, okay, give me a chance to breathe. Let me come down from that song.
They were doing a Les Mis.
I was just about to say that.
I suppose.
At least it wasn't like Les Mis where the whole thing was a song. And they didn't take any break. Although I love Les Mis. But...
Well, wasn't Les Mis supposed to be wasn't it like modeled after more of an opera than a musical?
Yeah, it's a rock opera, pop opera.
Yeah. Because an opera, by definition, is all music. They sing everything. But
now, speaking of which, if you want to see something hilarious about Les Mis, you need to go onto YouTube. You need to look up the Joe Moses one-man shows.
Yes.
And you need to watch their short stage comedy version, improv version of Les Mis, which features a variety of Starkids, and in addition to Starkids, other friends, including the Harry Potter film's own Ivana Lynch playing Cosette.
Definitely gotta watch that.
Yeah, I need to see that.
Watching that.
Yeah, I think I've seen parts of that. I assume they did that the year they did senior year, since she was in that too and was there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's right. Luna comes back for senior year, but you have to watch the first day to get to that.
She wasn't there to begin with.
Well, I mean, she comes back as Luna. because
Well,
she
the
played Luna
actress,
since
yes. Yes.
and she can sing. I was like, damn. But anyway, we'll
Yes.
talk about that later. But Joe Moses also does. They did another because they do the musical parodies sometimes, like the short parodies. And I can't remember because I saw one of them and I can't remember what it was. I want to say it was Beauty and the Beast, maybe. It was it was a Disney one. And it had like Tessa in it, and I think like Joey was in it, and like Joey, like Tin Can Brothers were there. It was hilarious. It was so good. It was supposedly according to the title, it was an improvised, because the whole thing is improvised musical. And supposedly what they do is they ask the audience, and they're like, okay, we want to do an improvised musical. What do you want us to do the musical about? And then they'll throw stuff out. I'm like, okay, we'll do that, sure. And so supposedly this was all improvised, and if it was, holy crap, that is talent.
Well, they're
look up Joe Moses. He has good stuff.
Yeah, they're good at improv. We're going to backtrack for a quick second here because I realized it wasn't listed properly in the actual recap section here, and I thought we were missing it. Let's backtrack for a second because during that scene with Baron von Nazi, we do get his song "The Nazis Are Not So Bad."
That's right.
Or as it's noted here, they just call it "Not So Bad."
That song is great. What I love about Baron von Nazi is he's that stereotypical villain who thinks he's in charge, and so he's cocky and arrogant as all hell, and he's not in charge. Which we'll find out later in the spoilers. We'll find out later in the show because they do the kind of cliche thing of the actual big bad, the most dangerous man alive is like, oh, you thought you were in charge? No, you're not.
Spoilers.
And Not So Bad is a very brave song.
Yes.
I was laughing a lot, but I'm like, wow, this could be very offensive to some people.
It could.
Well, that's the joke. That's why they went out of their way to get a segment of the song where Baron von Nazi gets the audience chanting and repeating after him in a hip-hop style, "The Nazis are not so bad. The Nazis are not so bad."
Yeah.
And then after they say it a bunch of times, Kurt Angus was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you people?" It's hilarious.
Yeah, I love this song. It's probably one of my favorite songs. One of my two favorite songs of the whole production.
It is quite good.
I love Brian Wilson because he is so over the top as Baron von Nazi. I'm just like, yes, dude, yes.
That's Sound of Music quality Nazi right there. Sound of Music quality.
Hey, Adolf Hitler likes his musicals. Have you not seen his YouTube videos?
Springtime for Hitler.
In Germany. Indeed.
Yeah, Rosenthal's great for just the straight. Him and Joe Walker are the best for just the straight over the top roles.
Yeah, pretty much. So we open the next act at the aforementioned World Peace Gala, where we are introduced to Joy Richter's next character, Vanger Borstit.
Gesundheit.
Thank you. He is, of course, a well-known television and media personality from the New Democratic Republic of Old Socialist Prussia Slovitskia. And he's hosting the gala. And proceeds to lead everyone in a song called "We Love the Prince," celebrating their beloved Prince Fjorgen. As we see varying peoples from the nations of the world arriving, including, but not limited to, of course, Cynthia, played by Lauren, who's representing the United States, along with Susan, as well as Brian Rosenthal, who is in a long coat, as a Vladimir Putin from Russia. Which is pretty funny.
As you can see.
Now, Jim, am I the only one, and I know they won't get this because they haven't seen it, am I the only one who got kind of an Ahmed vibe from that song?
Well, that was a joke, except the difference being, Ahmed was arrogant and wanted the praise. In this case, it's the prince was a failure and just pathetic, but everybody else was giving him the undeserved praise.
Right.
So
I'm talking
kind of
about
reversed.
I'm talking about the song itself, just like the type of song it was and the feel of the song. It had that very, the Ahmed song type feel, at least to me.
A little bit, yeah.
Vibe from it.
And this was Corey Lubowicz's one on-stage role where he stepped out of the director's chair to play Prince Fjorgen.
Indeed. And he did a great job.
He did. And the song is all about people praising Prince Fjorgen and then under their breath talking shit about him.
Corey needs to be in more shit.
Because he is very clearly, mentally disabled and is completely incapable of being a ruler of any kind. But because he is the bloodline, they have to love him. Hence the joke.
Indeed.
As we say. So
bravo, Corey. Bravo.
And we start off with this section here, where we see the actual. No, I didn't try to open apps. Go away, stupid Hangout. Anyway, and we see a combination of both Kurt and Mega attempting to get into this and talk to Cynthia, and explain what's going on. Explain that Von Nazi intends to, use the gala to, try to. His plan is basically to get control of the new Democratic People's Republic of Old Socialist Prussian Slovitskia and restart the Nazi regime there. A new Reich, as it were. And Cynthia wants something to do with him because after he fucked up, she had him basically decommissioned. And we see a combination of him trying to operate and save the gala while simultaneously cutting to flashbacks of what happened after Kurt got shot at the end of the first act. Which is incredibly well done, that everybody was changing their locations, changing around what they were doing, just to go between Kurt and the flashback. It was pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That took incredible choreography to be able to pull all that off.
Yeah, very well done. Very complex what they did, too.
And the pause wasn't that long either. It was only 5 seconds.
And so I got back and forth to see that, Barb was tending to Kurt Mega's wound and basically trying to get him patched up, while Tatiana was trying to, figure out how they were gonna try to stop Von Nazi, and invariably to the flashbacks and everything else, what ends up happening is after he and Tatiana fail to be able to get through to anybody that there's a threat against the prince of what's going to happen, Kurt jumps up and grabs the microphone from Wenger Borstedt and basically just announces to the world that there's an evil plan and that the prince is going to get shot in an attempt to try to, keep the rest, or rather that that there's going to, were they going to shoot him? I don't remember. Because they weren't originally going to shoot the prince. The original plan is they were going to try to get the prince on their side. And he basically announced there's an evil plot where they're, trying to get the, this other group is trying to get the prince on their side to use against, Russia and America need to come together to stop this. And when this all got out, the deadliest man alive was up top with Von Nazi and said, well, this, and Von Nazi's like, well, this hasn't worked out. What are we going to do now? And Dangerous Man's alive is like, well, let's just shoot the prince. And then you can kind of step in and just take over the country from there as they're in the throes of having no leadership. And they do that. And the prince dies and everybody panics and everything goes crazy and Wenger Borstedt doesn't know what to do with himself. And Kurt and Tatiana manage to get away.
After fucking up yet again.
Yeah. And so Kurt has, of course, been dealing with a gunshot wound this entire time. And so after this happens, Tatiana and Kurt manage to get away. They got to go into hiding because Kurt has, of course, been decommissioned after all this bullshit. And not dealing with this. So he and Tatiana end up back at Kurt Mega's mother's house, where she is absolutely thrilled that her boy has brought a woman home. And as Kurt asks Tatiana what her deal is, she goes into a song called "A Prisoner of My Past," where Tatiana sings basically about her backstory of how, she had a family that loved her, but her family was, basically her family thinks that it's either that she betrayed them or that she's dead. I don't remember which, but her family thinks that she's not around, that if she were to go back to them, it would put them in danger because of the line of work she's in and the enemies that she's made. specifically Von Nazi knows where they are, and will kill them if she tries to go back to them. So she's in a situation where she's a prisoner of past events and cannot go back to her family because of the way things have turned out. And that's why she does what she does, because she has no other choice. She does not have a life to go back to outside of this spy gig. And this is a really beautiful song. Mary Kay Wallace does a great job with it.
Indeed. This is probably one of my favorite scenes of the whole movie, just in Kurt Mega's mother's basement. It's a great scene.
Mm-hmm. And after Tatiana, yes, Cam, Melissa, feelings on either the first two songs of Act 2. I kind of kept going.
My perspective is going to be boring because I loved it, and I don't think there was any issues. So.
Well, wasn't if I remember correctly, because it was also late when we watched it, but wasn't this also a scene where certain things were revealed?
Yes,
that's the next song.
Why I love this scene, because the balls on them to do this. Holy crap! And I applaud them for it.
That's the next song. I guess we can move on to it since we're kind of segueing. After Tatiana laments her past, Kurt attempts to console her and say that we're going to stop Von Nazi. It's going to be okay. We'll find a way to get your family back. And when his hand ends up touching hers, there is at first what the audience believes to be a romantic connection. Mm-hmm. And Meg and Tatiana go into a song called "Doing This," which is basically a song saying, "Oh, we're doing this whole romantic, we're falling in love shtick because because neither of them seems entirely comfortable with it, but they're both decide, well, I guess we're doing this because believing that the other is into it, so they're just going to go with it." As they sing, I guess we're doing this, and Mrs. Mega also gets in on it too. Just happy that Kurt has found a woman and is finally potentially settling down.
Lauren Lopez is so funny in this role.
She is.
She's so hilarious. This is like Draco Malfoy levels of hilarity.
Yeah, it is.
It's pretty damn funny.
So did they do this, Baron? Did they do it?
They kissed, but after kissing, they both realized there was nothing there. And while it's not at this point outright stated, it is heavily implied the reason that this didn't work, as Tatiana says, "Oh, and he says, "Yeah." And it is pointed out at this point that Agent Kurt Mega is actually gay. And
they sure do know how to pull the twists.
Indeed. And so this is kind of a reveal that this is the case, which adds a whole other level to what was going on with him and Owen why he would have spent 4 years grieving his partner Owen, because he was more than just a partner in the sense of being a spy.
I also love that they did this, like I said, the balls on them to do something like this. But I also have to wonder, given when this production went forward, I have to wonder if Firebringer didn't have some sort of influence on the idea to go in this direction with the character.
This came out first.
Right, but they were in production at the same time, so Joey would have known, and of course Rosenthal, not Rosenthal, Joey was the only one in it from them. Joey would have known about it, wouldn't he?
It's still they still very well could have, because you had people that were in Firebringer that were
Joey and Lauren. Lauren was very much involved with Firebringer.
Yeah, because remember, because this thing, it's probably the other way around, because this thing went up until April 3rd of 2016 was the end of the production run on this, and it wasn't until June when Firebringer dropped. So that was probably, they ended this and probably then went into rehearsals for Firebringer.
Either way, there was a connection, no matter.
Yeah, I have to wonder if there was a connection, because even if they didn't go into rehearsals until then, I'm pretty sure Nick and Matt had it finished written by the time this went into production.
Perhaps.
And so I kind of have to wonder if there was a little cross-pollination there between the two groups of, well, we're doing this for Spies Are Forever. Nick, oh, are you now? Because Nick would do that. He'd be like,
he might.
An idea.
Maybe.
Because Nick is awesome like that.
It's possible.
Yes.
Anywho, as we continue on.
Yes.
Through our production. So, after this, we do have, as they, the two of them, after realizing what, that they're, because Kurt is not into women, that this is not what each of them thought it was. They shake hands and agree that they're going to be much better off as friends and working together as spy partners because there's just nothing there. And so they're both very pleased at this outcome, although Mrs. Mega has not yet realized it. And as they head off to go continue their mission, she sings a little reprise of the Pay Attention song, just a short one, because while you're saving the world, who do you think will be planning your wedding? So kind of a joke there.
Mm-hmm.
So after this, Kurt knows that they have to save the world from Von Nazi's evil plan. And so he gathers together all the people he can get a hold of, including himself, Tatiana, Barb, and the informant, played by Al Falek from earlier, who are basically going this outside of jurisdiction of American Secret Service. And so they get together at their rendezvous at a bar to figure out how they're going to proceed here. And as they sit down to discuss this, they have some awkwardness about knowing how to go forward. As the informant says, well, this is normally the part where I would hand out the agency briefings and weapons, but given that we're all traitors to our country, I don't really know how to proceed here. And confesses that, it's hard for him to dress up in all these varying characters and be all these different people, but if that's what he has to do to save his country, by God, he's going to do it. And this leads the four of them into sitting down over a drink, which leads into the upbeat song, One More Shot.
Bar none, my favorite song of the entire thing. It's my favorite dance number of the entire production. I love this song. And just, again, the dance number, the choreography is astounding.
Yep.
Kudos to Miss Lopez over there.
Yep. One more shot.
More shot. I love this song.
I'm drinking it down. One more shot. Turn it around. One more shot.
And again, going back to what I said earlier in the review about the songs having a lot of that call and response and a lot of that back and forth between the singers, this is the perfect example of it. And much like Ranger Danger, is handled so well.
Mm.
Oh, I love this song.
It is a great song. Cam, Melissa, what do you think of the song?
It sucked. It sucked. No, it was awesome.
And it is a great number where, they all start getting more and more drunk off of a variety of alcohol. And they all start, hilarious things start coming out. Tatiana is the most sober because she's Russian, so she drinks a lot. So she's like, oh, you drink like a girl. Barb confessing some of her feelings for Kurt. Kurt just kind of acting wild. And, of course, Al Falek, the informant is still dressed like a woman at this point from his last spy outfit. So he's also throwing out jokes like, Barb, have you ever been with a woman before? It's hilarious.
Al Falek, this is probably his best scene of the entire production. He is so funny in this scene.
I think I'm stealing the show.
Like, what I want to see now is I just want to see at least a scene of not an entire production of just him and Chris Allen.
Huh.
Imagine how funny that would be.
And Tim Allen.
That was random.
Because imagine you have Al Falek in the dress for his get-up, and then you have Moaning Myrtle next to him. Imagine that, Jim.
Yeah, that'd be pretty funny.
It'd be hilarious.
Make it happen.
Chris Allen plays Moaning Myrtle in senior year.
As well as Mad Eye Moody / Barty Crouch. I think he's somebody else in that too, isn't he?
In that production?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I converted Melissa.
Oh, yes, he's Thomas Riddle.
That's right, yeah. Tom Voldemort's dad, right.
Melissa's very into Harry Potter, thanks to me.
By the way, completely random and unrelated note I'm going to throw out here. Since we were talking about Starkid, which is tangentially related to Harry Potter. In honor of the 30th anniversary, or 20th, 30th, whatever anniversary of Harry Potter it is.
20th.
In honor of the 20th anniversary, Bloomsbury has released 4 new publications of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, representing editions of each of the 4 houses. They've got special new covers with the house crest on the front, and the pages are colored in the house colors. And each has special additional information regarding plot details and characters relevant to those houses.
Well, I'm just going to have to go buy the Gryffindor version since that's my official house.
Does it say Philosopher's Stone in America, or is it still Sorcerer?
I don't think they have made an American release of it. It's only being sold by Bloomsbury in the UK, so you'll have to import it.
Damn it! All right, remind me to talk to Simon.
Anyway, but that is a cool thing that they did do. So check that out.
I will.
Yes, and that's right, Cam and Melissa. I am a Gryffindor.
Yay for Gryffindor.
I call bullshit on that.
Well, what house did you get, Jim?
Ian Pottermore?
Yeah.
Well, first it was Slytherin, then they fixed the algorithm, and then it was Hufflepuff.
We have to try that.
What the hell's a Hufflepuff?
Hufflepuffs are particularly good finders.
You'll get that once you see Starkid's productions, Cam and Melissa.
Anyway.
But yeah, ironically, I was a Hufflepuff. And then they fixed the algorithm, and then I got Gryffindor. Which makes a whole lot more sense when you actually read what the houses represent and the people in it, like their attributes. It makes a lot more sense. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see that.
You're not brave. Fuck that.
Well, aside from that, but the rest of the attributes.
Yeah, okay. Anyway. Moving back onto the topic at hand. Tangent over.
Aw.
We cut back. After the one more shot proceed, the informant disguises himself as the royal notary of the New Democratic People's Republic of Old Socialist Prussia Slovitskaya. And we see Baron von Nazi with the Prime Minister and another official attempting to convince them to sign a contract giving him control of their country. And they are hesitant to do so because they are so distraught over the loss of their beloved Prince Fjorgen. And the only possible heir, Prince Fjorgen's brother. And so, and somebody else, there was a third one that died too. And so, basically they're all ready, but von Nazi proceeds to kick up a reprise of the Nazis are not so bad with them in the audience in order to convince them to sign the contract, which they do.
Still good and made even better with Al Falick.
Mm-hmm.
I love him singing Nazis Are Not So Bad. Again, hilarious.
Yes.
Indeed.
Indeed. So after managing to get them to sign the contract, and all that going down, somebody realizes that there is a spy. There is a spy in the room, and Kurt and Tatiana then make their presence known to von Nazi as the deadliest man alive arrives as well, and the Prime Minister and the other officials leave. And we have the big reveal of the production where the deadliest man alive proceeds to shoot Baron von Nazi. Gasp. Taking him down, and reveals the true plan, and that's that it was never about Baron von Nazi getting hold of the contract, which was mostly important for the deed to the land needed to build a new Nazi supercastle. And it's actually valuable because that land happens to be on top of a huge natural deposit of pure silicon. Which the deadliest man alive at this point chooses to reveal that Kurt has always been a step behind. And he proceeds to remove his mask to reveal that he is, in fact, Kurt's supposedly long-dead partner, Owen Kavor.
Twist number 2.
What a twist!
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun,
Bum, bum, bum.
For the Queen, James.
I didn't see it coming. I felt them for not coming.
I know.
Well, that's what Starkid is, or no, these production.
Close enough. Yeah, it's tangentially related.
Yeah. That's what they're good at, making sure the twists aren't coming.
Oh, yes.
Indeed.
There's finally a payoff for the opening scene.
There is, and it's great. And, Owen laments the fact that, Kurt has always been too old-fashioned. The world isn't about spies anymore. That silicon can be used to, he has joined a top-secret organization called Chimera. and that basically their goal is to basically bring the world into a modern era where spying is done by computers in a room, not by guys with guns and tuxedos. And so the pure silicon can be used to build more computer servers that they can use to launch and do this. Explaining that there's already a massive computer facility on a hidden island that's already doing the job for them.
It's funny because it's true.
It is. And so, he reveals that Kurt's the last of an old dying breed, and that he was dumb to keep following Kurt around because Kurt, was too reckless and didn't really, give a crap. And that's why he nearly got him killed, and all kinds of other stupid things that he did over the course of his spy career. And reveals that he's moved up in the world, and that Kurt won't stop him because he's always been one step ahead. Which leads into a montage song called "One Step Ahead," performed by Mega and Owen as they have a long chase scene / fight throughout the building that they're in, out of the building. They're in some cars at one point. They're in some boats at one point. They're running up on the top of the thing. They're all over the place.
The James Bond chase scene.
Yes.
Great song.
One step ahead.
I will say to Cam and Melissa, you mentioned that there was a payoff for the earlier scene with the whole reveal. You'll notice as you see more Starkid productions, that Nick and Matt Lang never put something in a production, in a show, that doesn't mean anything. Every scene has a meaning. Every scene is tied together. So, that superfluous scene at the beginning with the killing, I knew that was going to come back because this was being written by Joey Richter and Brian Rosenthal. I was like, no, that has to come back. Because if that didn't come back and Nick Lang actually read that, he'd be like, the fuck are you guys thinking? That has to come back. You can't just do that. And I know
I knew it was going to come back. I knew Owen was alive. I just didn't expect him to be the bad guy.
I kind of half expected that because I'm like, it's kind of the cliche, and Starkid is known for, if nothing else, to run with the cliches and go over the top with them. And one of the biggest cliches, especially in spy thrillers, is the partner faking his death or acting, or maybe it's like you think he's dead, but he's actually saved by the villain group and becomes the villain. That's such a huge cliche in movies, and specifically spy thrillers. I was like, he's going to be the villain, isn't he? And sure enough, he was.
Yeah.
I had a sense about something with that scene. I didn't know what it was, but I had some kind of sense about it.
It was the banana peel.
Sure, and sure enough.
Well, the other thing too is both characters were played by Joey Richter. I'm like, okay, no, that can't just be a coincidence that he's playing both parts. It's like, no, there's got to be something more here.
But
especially when they revealed Baron von Nazi, and I'm like, he can't be the main villain. He's too cliche. He's obviously the guy who thinks he's the main villain.
Yeah, I know. The deadliest man alive was Joe Walker until he took the mask off. You idiot.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot about that. But I had a feeling it was going to be something like that, though. Because I'm like, no, it's got to either he was going to be the deadliest man alive or he was going to be the one pulling the strings behind everybody. It was going to be one of those two.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense he'd be the deadliest man alive given the fact that he was a spy, so he'd be like the perfect assassin.
Yep. He made the point the deadliest man alive was a great character, if not for his his penchant for world affairs and his expert marksmanship, he might have joined the theater. And so the two of them, as they're having their big chase scene, they have out about their past relationship and everything that went down with, Owen just basically trying to leave Kurt behind and Kurt just refusing to accept that, this is the way the world is going, even if that might be the case, Owen, we had our past, but, obviously that's over, and I can't keep letting this control me, and I can't let you get away with this plan, and he does end up having to shoot Owen.
And I love they do the whole thing of Owen's like, you're not going to shoot me. You don't have the balls to do that. You love me too much. You're not going to shoot me. It's not you. And he's like, no, it's not the old me.
My heart sank in that moment. I felt really sad that.
And that goes into my final point of this entire production and the ties to Team Starkid. Because every single Team Starkid production is so sad because of how they write it. They've tugged the emotional heartstrings. They do the emotions so well, and this production is, the story is so just on a base level sad. But again, with that balance, you get the levity where you need it. But the core story is so sad and so well done.
It was all about a friendship and how they became different people, and
it's all about a love. They were in love. Well, I don't know if Owen actually ever loved him, but
unrequited love, I guess.
Possibly.
But
I think if I recall, and it's been a while since I've seen this, but if I recall in that scene where they're doing the chase and they're talking about their past, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, is it the way Owen responds to current Mega and some of the things he says, it's kind of hinted at that Owen actually had feelings for Kurt Mega at one point as well.
Oh, no, definitely. Yeah, that's definitely heavily important. That they did legitimately, they were legitimately in love at one point in time, but they just grew apart through a combination of Owen seeing the world from a different perspective and Kurt just being completely reckless and old-fashioned.
Right.
And they just grew apart, and that's why it was so hard for each of them to do what needed to be done, because they did have that connection.
And I have to say, Kurt just plays it off so well. That's all the emotions of that character, and having come to terms with the fact that yes, the world has changed, and I have to change with it, or there isn't going to be a world.
Mm-hmm. While Kurt and Owen are having their chase scene, simultaneously Barb is on the phone, on one end of the phone with Tatiana trying to tell her how to arm the bomb, the one that she had stolen before that they're going to use to blow up the after Barb finds the island facility with the computer servers on it. And she's trying to tell Tatiana how to arm the bomb, while simultaneously trying to tell Kurt Mega's mom how to fix her refrigerator.
Again, there's that levity again. Right.
Oh, it wasn't plugged in after all. And so they do manage to find, even though Owen admits that you might destroy that island full of servers, but you really think that's the only one. Indicating that there's more going on with the Chimera thing. But they do manage to use the bomb to blow up the island of computer servers. Owen is killed, and we go into the finale where, Kurt is reinstated by the Secret Service after, I keep forgetting characters' names. Damn it! After Cynthia poisons him and then makes him promise not to be an asshole before she gives him the antidote. And he agrees to continue what it is that he does, although from an unofficial standpoint. And Tatiana now, she's free to go back to her family now that Von Nazi is out of the way and the threat is over. And there's a point there where Kurt Mega is almost about to tell her what Owen told her about the additional computer servers, but he can't bring himself to deny her that happiness at the thought that she might not be able to go back to her family, so he lets her go, deciding to allow her to be happy and let himself worry about keeping her and her family safe. Barb gets promoted to the new, basically, computers division of the Secret Service, where they're going in the direction Owen predicted they would go, merging in the science part with the spy part.
That's a very Hidden Figures-esque type thing.
I was just thinking of Hidden Figures when he said.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Barb is brought in for that, and she, Kurt says they'll always be friends, and she still has the feelings, but she understands, and so she heads on to do her job, and that just leaves Kurt as they go into the finale song, which is a reprise of a number of the songs, including most primarily "Spies Are Forever."
I think you also forgot to mention that Al Falek's character gets killed. Because doesn't he get killed by Baron von Nazi?
Yeah, the informant gets shot by Owen while he gets away.
Ah, that's right.
Yeah, the informant gets shot by Owen. One of Al Falek's characters gets shot.
That was an incredibly sad scene.
Yeah, the informant got shot, and basically, they had to deal with that loss, and that was what spurred them on to go stop Owen and put an end to this. That was acted very well.
Yes.
And so they go through the finale where they wrap the whole thing up with a reprise of Spies Are Forever as everybody comes back out. And then after they take their bows and the curtain closes, it comes back up. they throw in a little bit of what they're calling the spy dance, or the original theme from the promotion video, the original version of Spies Are Forever.
Spies are forever.
It's a musical. It's about spies.
But I will say that ending, I'm fairly certain, again, like a lot of things in this production, they took from Skyfall, because that's literally the ending. For those who haven't seen Skyfall, that's literally the ending of Skyfall when Voldemort becomes M. And he's like, 007, we need you back. Mr. Bond, we need you back. People thought you were ancient, but you're not. There's this whole new threat now, and only you can, take on this threat. I will lead you, and I will, take over where your previous M left off. Please come back. And so he becomes 007 once again to go take on what we find out in the next movie is Spectre.
Yes. We'll be given an Aston Martin and having Moneypenny show up, and it's like, did history repeat itself? Is nobody noticing this?
I kind of liked Skyfall just because they did the whole reboot thing where they're like, we've been too public. We're supposed to be, MI6. We're supposed to be spies. And they have like the whole like padded door and shit. I'm like, that's awesome. But this ending comes straight from that of like, it's like, Mega, we need you. You may be a relic of the past, but that's what we need right now, kind of thing. And then, of course, you have the current Mega side of it of, I have to stop this organization, these people. I have to go find these servers. And that's kind of what Bond did at the end of Skyfall. Is the other side of it was him saying, I have to stop this organization. I know more about what's going on here than anyone else in MI6 because I've been tracking these bastards for 10 years. I need to go after them. I need to finish what I've started. Maybe not 10 years, like 5 or whatever, but yeah. So I kind of like that they pulled a lot. And this was supposed to be, I think, primarily influenced by James Bond. But I love that they pulled from that particular movie, which in my opinion is an underrated movie. And there's a fair few people that don't like that movie.
I have a professor who loves James Bond, but hates Daniel Craig's James Bond for some reason.
Interesting.
He loves the other ones, but we have it on disc, Skyfall. I bought it from FYE before they shut down in our mall. But
FYE shut down in your mall?
Yep. Oh yeah, it shut down a couple years ago, right?
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
I guess it's in your mall.
It is.
Yeah, Spies Are Forever, great production. Go see it if you haven't seen it. It is free on the Tin
Yes,
Can
overall,
Brothers
final
channel.
thoughts on the overall of Spies Are Forever. Bring it around.
Don't watch it. Terrible.
Don't believe him, Internet.
It's brilliant. Great time. Fun. Thought-provoking. Tugs on your heartstrings. It's definitely worth it.
Any type of production they do, it's just,
They're nice. The songs are catchy.
Indubitably.
Yeah, without fail, any Team Starkid production, any production that a Team Starkid member is in is great. Well written, well performed, great music. I mean, even the one I like the least, Annie, is still a great production.
I just love I don't know how to describe it. How it doesn't, like they don't act serious, but have a good time doing it. Is that a way to describe it? Like with all the Nazi names and all the
levity,
Yeah.
The tone.
It's more the story is serious and the.
I mean, the story.
And everything that's in it is serious, but the presentation is more whimsical.
Yes.
And the cursing's awesome. You don't hear that.
Team Starkid Hallmark. It's not a Team Starkid production if someone doesn't curse.
There's a joke where that gets emphasized in senior year, but we'll get to that.
I don't think that will ever change because Daring Chris will have to slap a bitch if that ever happens. Because that is a Daring Chris hallmark. He has to swear in Team Starkid Productions he's in. Yeah. It all started with him.
Pretty much. Anyway, yeah, this is a great production. I loved it, and it ranks right up there with the shows actually done by Starkid. A lot of the same people involved, and everybody involved did a great job. Props to everybody else, especially to Mary Kay Wiles, who, from what she said in interviews, was pulled out of the blue for this. Like they knew her having worked previously with her on Muzzled the Musical, which I also recommend. But she, they were she was very surprised when the Tin Can Brothers came to her. Joey and Lauren were in that production when they came to her and offered her this part of Tatiana, because she never considered herself a singer first and foremost. She considers that she did some music, but was more on the comedy side of things. And she just absolutely knocked it out of the park, especially with the Spies Are Forever song, pulling off the Bond Girl theme song. And it was just amazing. So very big props to Mary Kay Wiles for that.
Oh, yeah. She has a great voice. And I hadn't been that familiar with the non-Starkid contingent of this production until this production. And every single one of them did a great job. They fit so well in with the Starkid family. And it's like, kind of makes me want to see them in an actual Starkid production, because I think they would be so great in one of those productions.
I'm sure they were, but the biggest problem with that, running into every time, is that the majority of these people that do these kind of things are in LA, and Starkid is in Chicago.
Which is fair enough. So just keep doing the Tin Can Brothers stuff. Like, I want to see a Spies Are Forever too, because I think that would be amazing.
Well, in the end credits, after everything, there was a note on the bottom: Kurt Mega will return in Spies Are Forever 2, Spy Another Day.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. That could just be a parody of how James Bond movies end.
Well, they were actually asked about it, and they said that they would like to do another one, but they would have to get everything together and see if it was something that they could theoretically pursue it. Probably a little while before they got to it.
They need to do it. I love Kurt Mega.
Yeah, I would say if they do it, they need to ask Tessa to convince Joe Moses to be in it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see Joe Moses in a Spies Are Forever, because I think he'd be hysterical.
Well, he's hysterical at everything. That's not the point.
Yes, he is. What the devil is going on here?
That's absurd! Anyway. So this has been a review of Spies Are Forever. Again, check it out on YouTube. The Tin Can Brothers. Check them out on YouTube as well as at tincanbrothers.com. Check out all their wonderful new things that are going on. Stay tuned for their new short film. Check out their short film, Flop Stoppers, which Geoff and I will be reviewing in the next video. And also stay tuned for their show after that, their next short film that they're doing, which is, what are they calling that?
I don't remember.
I gotta look. It's a Scooby-Doo parody.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that looks hilarious. Have you guys seen the little teaser for that, Melissa and Cam?
Nope.
Not yet.
They are doing a Scooby-Doo parody, but it's adult Scooby-Doo where they have to come back. If I'm remembering this correctly, it's come back to investigate the murder of Scooby-Doo.
Yes, the Tin Can Brothers in Solve It Squad.
Yeah, that's right.
So check that out. Solve It Squad coming soon.
Gotta watch that.
Yeah. For those out there, check out the Tin Can Brothers channel. Check out everything they do, because they do a lot of like short skits and stuff, because they're first and foremost an improv group. It's again Joey Richter and Brian Rosenthal and Corey Lubowitz, and they are hilarious and they are so talented. Go check them out.
We're going to do that right after this broadcast.
All right.
I'll go to bed.
Yeah, I'm glad they're going into more larger productions like Spies Are Forever and like the Flop Stoppers and the Solve It Squad. I think that's awesome that they're doing that stuff, and
yeah, definitely
that they're being inspired to do the stuff. They have the creative juices flowing, that they're like, well, let's do this.
Yeah, Solve It Squad is going to be produced live in LA. Tickets are available now. Sorry, it was produced live in LA. It was in June. It actually just ended. But it will inevitably be on YouTube. They don't know exactly when, but it will be coming. So check that out. It's a one-act play. Former kid detectives, after 20 years of growing apart, they must return to the scene of their greatest unsolved case, the murder of their trusty dog, Klubert. A send-up to classics like Scooby-Doo, The Hardy Boys, and Nancy Drew, Solve It Squad Returns puts its own dark, twisted spin on the beloved characters.
Yeah, I am so looking forward to this because, and even Jim may not know this about me, but I am a huge mystery fan, like murder mystery fan. I grew up watching all that stuff, The Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, Scooby-Doo, Murder, She Wrote, Diagnosis Murder. I watched all that stuff because I'm such a huge mystery fan.
Did you watch Unsolved Mysteries?
An episode here and there.
Ironic.
So yeah, I am so looking forward to this one.
You like Law and Order?
That's one. I don't watch a lot of the modern stuff. I like the old school stuff. I've seen some of Law and Order. I've seen SVU. I haven't watched, I don't think, any of the other ones, but I've seen SVU. It's a good show.
Have you read Holmes?
Sherlock Holmes?
Yeah.
Of course.
Of course.
Sherlock Holmes, Agatha Christie? Of course.
Of course. Murder, She Wrote.
Did you see Ian McKellen as Sherlock Holmes?
That I haven't seen, but I heard that is fantastic.
But anyway, back to topic. Yes, so stay tuned for the upcoming, our review of Flop Stoppers, and check out the upcoming Tin Can Brothers production. That'll be on the slate for next year's Spring of Starkid, among other things.
Yes, we will be reviewing that next year.
We'll see what else Starkid puts out in the intervening time frame, if anything. And thank you all for joining me, as always, for this wonderful Spring of Starkid review.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you.
Hope I didn't ruin your show.
You're fine.
Okay.
And Geoff and I will see you next for the Flop Stompers. And depending on when we get worked out, maybe the two of you will join us for some of the upcoming videos in the ever-present summer of Disney.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I look forward to it.
We will be there.
We have not planned out the full slate of that yet. One thing, Geoff and I will be reviewing the reboot Beauty and the Beast movie. So,
Which we have seen. Yay!
So you can join us for that if you so desire.
So we can do that one, and then we'll see what else we're going to do. We're going to figure it out. But until then, we'll see you next time, folks. Peace.
Peace out.